Hi friends, in today's video I'm going to discuss the migration strategy from Oracle to Aurora PosgreySQL using Aurora 2 PG and DMS. Okay, normally you all know that in migrations of the Oracle to RDS or any on-prem to RDS, we normally use this SCT tool for schema conversions. For this video, I'm going to use this Aurora 2 PG. Aurora 2 PG is a free open source tool, and it is quite popular for migrations of Oracle to Postgre. But in this video, I'm going to use Aurora 2 PG for schema conversions. Okay, let's begin. So this will be the high-level steps I'm going to discuss today. I already have a source database and running the EC2 machine, and I'll be providing some grants, some log miner setups for transaction logs, and then I will configure that Aurora 2 PG on a EC2 instance, and then I'll execute the Aurora 2 PG schema export tool. Okay. And thereafter I'll be creating and configure our Aurora PosgreySQL in RDS. I'll be configuring the DMS settings like creating the replication instance, source and target endpoints. Then I'll run this migration task and then validate the migration tasks. Thereafter we'll validate that the at the target Postgres sites, the schema conversions, there will be some post steps about the schema conversions, and last not the least, I'll cut over to the PostgreSQL DB and then clear the resources wherever necessary. Okay, so as I said, I already have a Oracle instance running here. So this is my host name. Let me log into my Oracle instance. Okay. So my instance name is Oracle. I already put some sample schema and some tables and the objects. You can get it this kind of sample objects and schema from GitHub. So I have already inserted the rows and everything. So I have some 7 tables. I got some 7 tables for HS schema and a few other objects like I think I got 6 object types including table, indexes, procedure, trigger, sequences, etc. Okay, let's see. Yeah, 6 object types I am having. So this will be I'll migrate those objects and the tables to the Aurora PosgreySQL DB as a target. Okay, at the first steps, I need some kind of privileges to my HS schema owner. Okay, these are the list. You can get it any kind of AWS documentations, and I also need some action privilege required for the log miner to access, because if I'll at the time of DMS tasks, if I'll choose the transaction logs to be also replicated at the same time of transferring the things. So I may need some additional privileges related to the log miner. Okay, it's done. And now I'm gonna check whether the supplementary logging is already set up or not. It's already set up for me, but I'll show you that what are the steps you need to do that. Like I'm checking from the $V parameter if my database is compatible. Yes, it is compatible. Then I will check some supplementary log data. Yes, it's there. Okay. Yes. Okay. I already said in one of my earlier video from Oracle EC2 to Oracle RDS migrations that I have to enable this supplementary log data either in the database levels and in the table column levels. Normally I'll do the both because for my practical experiences the supplementary log data in the database level doesn't work if you'll just do the schema import kind of stuffs. So I'll enable the both. It's already enabled, but I'll show you. Okay, for the table level supplementary log data enabling, I already have a script to get this 7 tables enabling the supplementary log data. So I believe it's already enabled. Sorry, this is a script because it's showing these things because it's already exist. So it's already exist at my level. Okay, for the next steps, okay, this configuring the source Oracle database is done. For the next steps, this is very important. This is very interesting. I am going to configure Aura 2PG on the EC2 instance. And for the Aura 2PG, I need to first download few stuffs like DBI for Perl, DBD Oracle, and the Aura 2PG tools. So let me show you. At first, I'm going to show you that the URLs you can refer for downloading the stuffs. For DBI, I'm going to use the DBI 636 tar.zzips. This is required for database independent interface for Perl, and this is the websites. You can go there and you can check. And I'll just show you 1 minute. Yeah, you can see, like I have downloaded from here. The next thing is that you also require DBD. I have downloaded for 1.74. This is required for Oracle database driver for DBI module. You can get it from the SIP and the same kind of website, same web URL. You can get it and you can install. I have installed the 1.74. At last, you also need the Aura 2PG. This is a free migration free tool. This will be used only for the schema conversions. Normally, in case of Oracle to Postgres, this is useful for both the schema conversions level as well as migrating the objects directly from Oracle to Postgres. Here, for this exercise, I am just going to use it for just kind of a comparisons in between the schema conversions. I am not actually loading anything to the Postgres. For the loading the data, I am going to use the DMS. So you can install this Aura 2PG things from this particular website. This is the source force. I am going to use this 20.0. Okay. So I have already installed this the softwares in these locations. Okay. So another thing is that for this entire configuring this Aura 2PG related softwares, I am going to do it by root. This is having the definite benefits because otherwise you have to, you can do that in this, Oracle user. You have to have a sudo rights because you have to install the Perls and all these things. For these operations, I'm going to use as a root, but it is your choice. So first I'll go do the DBI related steps. You can see the DBI file is here, so I'm just enter it. Okay. One minute. Sorry, I have to go to here. Yeah. Okay, I have already entered the DBI. Next, I'll go to the DBI. Then I'll execute this makefile.ml, makefile.pl, the PAL script, the makefile. Yes, done. Then make. No error. And at last, make install. Okay, it's good. Okay, and the next steps, I am going to repeat the same thing for the DBD Oracle. DBD also, you can see that there is a tar file is there. So tar minus xbf. Okay, this is the DBD one. Here I have to export the Oracle Home LD library path. Okay, there is two ways you can do that. Since it is my Oracle machine and I chose to use the actual Oracle Home path, but there is another way you can do that. Like, you know, first I thought that I will be use some kind of Insta client, so I install all this thing, but later I find out, okay, if I choose the actual home path, it will be easier to connecting with Oracle Home. So I'll be using the actual Oracle Home path since it is a Oracle is installed in this SU machine. Okay, so I know my 1 minute. Let me log into the Oracle. So this is my Oracle Home. And I also need to set the LD library path. Okay. Select. Okay. Now I have to run this makefile, PAL makefile scripts. Okay, looks fine. Make. And make install. Good. The last steps, I'm going to install the Aurora 2 PG. Okay, Aurora 2 PG, I have downloaded that BZ2, so I will use this option, tar xjf. Okay, so you can see that Aurora 2 PG. Now I'll run the same kind of command again, and yeah, I can use the command together using a double ampersand, and looks fine. Now if everything is installed correctly, I should get the version. Yes, Aurora 2PG is installed correctly. You can see the version is 20.0. So now Aurora 2PG is installed successfully. In the next steps, we have to configure the Aurora 2PG configuration file. So this will be required for the export of the schema details, and we are gonna execute the Aurora 2PG. So let's see how we can configure the Aurora 2PG configuration files. As you can, when you install this way, the default configuration file is installed in /etc Aurora 2PG directory. So if I'll see, you can see that this is the default file. Let me change the name to Aurora 2PG conf, and let me do some updates. Now so there will be this is a huge file, so there are so many things we can do that, but I'll just show you the minimum settings would be required to perform the export. You can see that Oracle Home is already set for us. This is the Oracle DSN. It will connect to the Oracle Home for host connections. So here we have to change the host name and seed name. The port is same. This is a Oracle type instance, and we have to check the Oracle user and password whether they are correct or not. So I already logged in. I already have another putty sessions open in front of me. So let me check the host name. So this is the host name. I'm going to replace. Okay. Seed name, I know it is ORCL. Okay. Let me check about the system manager. Hopefully they are correct. Yes, they are correct. Okay, so these points, they are good. Let me proceed with the another settings. Okay, now this is required, the export schema. I'll just uncomment this one. This stage, you know that I am going to show you the export for one schema, that is HR. Okay, let's proceed with the next one. Okay, I'm not going to sys users. I'm not going to set anything on that. These are not required. Okay, here I need to do something. This is a type of export. Table is something is default, but since I have objects, like I have, if you remember, I have 6 type of objects like table, view. Okay, along with the table, the index comes along with the table. This is default. I have trigger. I believe I had, okay, let me check again what kind of objects I had. Select object type. Okay, why I require this one. Okay, that will suffice. So table index, trigger, procedure, view, sequence. Okay, table index, trigger, sequence, procedure. Do I want table space? Okay, I don't know. I don't want this. How many? 3, 2, 5. 1 is left. What is that? Procedure, view, sequence, index, table. Table and index are default. Okay, I am not including any kind of insert things because it will be automatically done through that. So I believe these are sufficient. Okay. 1 minute. Okay, let me put the insert as well. Let me see what is there. I'll just check it for, see what is there. Do I have any function? I don't have any function here. That we are good. Let's proceed. Another thing, I require this output. So I'll get the output, name of the output tables. Otherwise it will be output everything, so I just want to name it. Output, something like output. Okay, search it. Yeah, you can say the output.sql is default, and output directory in var temp. Let me write these things, this hr, and let me put the output directory as U01 app Oracle. Okay, I believe we are good. So what I did, I'll copy that default configuration file to a configuration name. Then I'll change some of the mandatory configuration files, and now I am going to run. You can run on it this way. Sometimes, since our configuration file is in the default locations, otherwise there is another way you can run using this configuration file, like sourcing the configuration file. Mostly this is required if I'll have a non-standard location of the configuration file. You can run this way. So let me run. It might take, I believe, a minute or something. Okay, let it be run, and let me do the next step so that we can save some time here. Okay, the next step is the create and configure the PostgreSQL. I don't know how much time it's gonna take. Let me pause the video here and I'll come back once it is done. Hi guys, our Aurora 2P is running there. So in the meantime, I will create the Aurora PostgreSQL DB in RDS. So let's begin. I'll choose RDS. Create database. Standard create. I'll choose Amazon Aurora. choose as a postgrade compatibility. Let me take some older versions, maybe 10.7. It should be good. One writer and multiple readers. Dev and test. Database names. Okay, master username, test DBA, password. Okay, I'll use the bus table because it will cost me less. DBT3 medium should be good. Can I have hold on. No, I cannot choose anything less than that. So DB33 medium should be good for me. I don't require an Aurora replica here at this point. I already have a VPC with me, and it is publicly accessible. Yes, I have one this security groups which have TCP connections. All ports are open, so I can use the database 5432 from my local desktop. Password authentication should be good. Let me see if I have any additional configurations. This is very important. Okay. In Aurora case, this is very important. Otherwise, most of the tools it doesn't connect. So I'll put something. I'll put as a test DBA. Rest of the stuffs, I don't require any kind of fancy things here. Okay, that's great. Guys, this will take, I believe, a couple of minutes, sometimes 10 minutes, more than that. So meantime, we'll go back to the another window to check our Aurora 2 PG status. Please stay tuned. So guys, we came back to our Aurora 2 PG screen. As you can see that it's completed. So let me go through with that. It scans 7 tables, 1 views, 1 trigger, 3 sequences, 2 procedures, and then the respective rows. And if you can see that the output directory we have given as this, I should have some kind of files. Yes, I have. So I have given as a these are the object types I have given: table, view, trigger, sequences, procedure, insert. So let me go through one by one. This is table. Okay, it's having this, the create table, all this for Postgres, and there is some comment on that. So I can validate if something got missed in my target after DMS. I can do that. So this will be something a good comparisons after my target database the migration is done. Similarly, I will check others. Say about view. Okay, this is the view, one view only. Good. Let's say about the triggers. Okay, it's saying that drop the trigger if exist, and then create a trigger, then another create a trigger. Okay. At last, I'm interested to see the insert things. This should be something around inserting the data. Okay. I may not require these things because this will be already done as a part of the DMS, but this is definitely a good checks. If somebody wants to do it in a different way, they can do that. So this is definitely a good output, and you can see this as a reference to cross check. Okay, so I believe this way our Aurora 2 PG installations and the configuration is done. The next steps would be the configuration of the Aurora PosgreySQL DB. So we have to wait a couple of more minutes until it's available. So I am pausing the video and we'll meet up soon. Thank you. Hi guys, welcome back. So our Postgres database is up and running. So now I'm gonna connect the Postgres using our client tool SQL Electron. This is a kind of very lightweight tool and useful for different kind of RDBMS databases. So I'll be using this writer endpoint as a server address. Port is 5432, user ID is our user ID and passwords, and initial database is testDBA. So let me test. Yeah, it's successful. I'll save the connections and I'll connect. So my purpose here at this point to create a user or role as a HR pose. Okay, and I will, I love to give this super user, but you know that in Postgres, Aurora Postgres, we cannot give that super user role to any user, because we don't because the testDB or the initial user itself is not a super user. So I'll try to give a grant all on database testDBA to this role to HR pos. Okay, I believe okay, HR pos. Yep. So I have created the role of the user HR pos, and I have grant all on this particular testDBA database. Now moving to the next point. Okay, I already create this Postgres database, and I have given this the I have chosen the VPC which already created with me, which having some kind of internet facing subnets, and the security is also able to accept the connections from outside world. So that's why I able to connect using my desktop client tool here. So the next steps, I'll be creating a replication instance at the DMS. Okay. At this stage, we are going to perform the DMS steps. So I'll be creating a replication instance of the DMS at the beginning. I'll be creating this source and target endpoints, and thereafter I'll be doing this migration stacks. So let's begin. I'll be choosing DMS service. Okay. And let me create a replication instance. I'm putting the replication is as a replication testDBA or cloud y rep descriptions replication instance. I'll put as a t2 small because that is sufficient. Well, engine versions as default allocated GB. I don't need 50 GB, 30 should be sufficient. Ideally, I should put the target and this replication in the same VPC. This is my VPC. It is publicly available. Let me choose the thing advanced security network configurations. I'll already have a security groups. The same security group is my um, RDS belong, like target RDS belong. Rest of the things should be default. So I'll just create. This may takes a couple of minutes. So in the meantime, I'll proceed with the creations of the endpoints. I'll first create the source endpoint. So my source endpoint is a EC2 instance. I'm now going to create this the source endpoints. So my source endpoints is a Oracle database running on the EC2. So I require the public DNS. I'll copy the public DNS. So endpoint identifier, let's say source Oracle. Endpoint engine is Oracle. Server name, port is 1521. Username, let me choose a username as a system, and password is manager. SID, I know that this is ORCL. I need to have a, okay, this time I need to have a endpoint specific settings. This will be required or okay. The endpoint settings require, I'll just want to add this additional supplemental logging is equal to y is yes. So endpoint specific, so let me put these things as a y, and create the endpoint. Similarly, I am creating the endpoint for target. This is much easier because it's RDS, it's all drop down. I'm going to change the password. There will be no endpoint specific settings and the rest of the things will be default. So I'm just creating the endpoints. Hopefully my replication instance is done. Yes, it's done. So let me check the endpoints connections from DMS. Okay, I'll choose action, text connections, cloud by rep, run test. So this is for my RDS, like RDS Postgre Aurora. Okay. Okay, it's successful. So let me go back and run the source one. Action, test connections, and test. Now this is the connection in between source Oracle endpoints and the replication instance. is successful as well. So now the next steps, I'm going to create a database migration task. I'm going to create a task called Oracle to Aurora. Replication instance is that they're all drop down source Oracle. Okay, there is a three option is there. I can definitely choose the existing data and replication ongoing changes, because my source instance, I already enabled the replicate ongoing changes. Okay, and let everything will be default. Task mapping, I'll be using the guided UI. You can use the JSON editor, is more flexible. So for me, guided UI, I am going to choose add new selection. For source, enter schema name will be HR. Okay, for transformation rules, this is mostly required at the target side. Target schema name I'll use as okay. Let me change something. I believe one thing needs to be changed in the endpoints. I need to change the Aurora endpoints, because otherwise it won't be having there as a HR pause. I want to modify that. Okay, let me change to the HR pause. There's a password, I believe I put as a welcome 123. Let me do a quick test connection. Okay. It's successful. So let me quickly go back to my original create task. Believe underscore won't work. Okay, I'll quickly choose the things, and then transformation rules, target schema name. Let me choose a different schema name called HR boss schema. Okay, the rest of the thing should be default, should be good. So This will take maybe a minute or so. So let me pause the video in meantime. Welcome guys. Our database migration task initial load is completed. So we can see that I'll go to the table statistics. You can see that this is the full loads is completed. This number of rows has been inserted into these tables. Now if I'll go to the events also, you can see the replication job is started. Okay, now one thing you can see the load is completed and replication is ongoing. That means it's waiting for any kind of in between transactions or any kind of an archive logs things. Through log miner it will try to replicate. So let me log into the one of in our source database and do some kind of inserts. So this is an insert I'll just doing on my source database Oracle site. Sorry, I believe this is already there. Let me change something. Admin 01 or say functional. Okay, let me do another one. Say say coder and things called PostgreSQL, and his salary would be 200 and max is 1000. Okay, committed. So ideally it should be replicated. Let's check on that. You can see that after the inserts these two inserts has been reported here in the database migration task. That means the whatever the Oracle inserts I have done in the source, it's immediately replicated to my targeted Aurora site. So hopefully if I imagine this is the last inserts and last update on my source side, once it is done I'll select this one and I'll choose this option as a stop this time. So that means my database migration task is now completed. Okay, it's stopping. Now on the next steps I'm going to validate some of the I'm going to validate some of the migration steps like validate objects, table rows, etc. And I am going to execute some the Aurora 2 PG output scripts as well. Well, welcome to check the post migration object status in the Postgre. We have to connect the Postgre database again, but this time I'll be using this newly created user hrpos. So I'll test it, save the connections and connect. And this time I'll be checking the vis-a-vis the objects and the tables at the source and the destination at the target, and I'll use the Aurora 2 PG output to apply the output into the Postgres to create some missing objects. So let's see how this looks like. So I'll first check the table names. It's created here. I know this all the tables already created, but let me check. Yeah, you can see this 7 tables. I can see that. So they are created. Let me see the views. Okay, there is no views. For rest of the things, I'll be using the command from this. I'm definitely not a Postgre expert. Okay. This is views. Do I have something for trigger? Definitely yes. Yeah. Let me check about the trigger is there or not. That is not trigger as well. Or check from another. No triggers. Okay, is there anything for procedure? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now the time has come. Let me look at this our outputs and let me see how this looks like and how we can use this particular Aurora 2P output here. Okay, so these are my 2 triggers. Now one thing I just want to warn you, if you are not very habituated with the Postgre, it's having some kind of very little bit different than Oracle, that like it converts everything to the lowercase. So sometimes we have to use a double quote, otherwise it won't happen. Or normally I will replace everything in the Well, now we are going to discuss about the Carpod steps. Um, so if at all after this successful migrations from Oracle to Postgre, if you are satisfied and that the migration done perfectly and you are ready to cut over from Oracle, so after shutting down the applications, maybe you have to do that in a different way. For the database part, you can check some kind of connections, and those queries those SQL queries should not return any results. So first we'll check this select machine count from visualizations group by machine. This will be all done in the source database side. So I believe count one. Yeah. So the point is that I already have some connections to this machine because I am not going to cut over, but this query should not return any results. And you can check that who are the connections, and you can kill the connections. So I already have this active connection with me because I logged in multiple times, never bothered to kill them, but definitely you can kill the connections, like alter systems, kill set serial numbers. Then you can shut down all the listeners and the Oracle database, and then you are gone. You are ready to use your new Postgres as your primary instance with your all data migrated from Oracle. So the last steps I'm going to perform as a clear release my DMS resources, because they cost me. So please stay with me for clearing the DMS resources. So we are currently at our last step. Here I am going to clear the DMS resources and release the resources. So at the beginning, I can see that my migration task is already stopped. So I'll choose it and I will delete the resource. It will take a minute to delete. Then I'll go to the endpoint. Not endpoint. This will be. I'll delete the endpoints. Okay, because it's waiting for the task to be deleted. Wait a minute, maybe it will take some 30 seconds to be deleted. It's done. I'll go to my endpoint. I'll delete the endpoint. I'll replication instance, and then I'll choose both the endpoints, source and the targets, and I'll delete them. Okay. You can, if you want, you can terminate your EC2 instance, stop your EC2 instance. It's your preference, but I'll be using my EC2 instance as a source for other migration projects, other works. So I won't be deleting the EC2 instance here. So I believe this will conclude is today's sessions, and I believe you got a good glimpse how we can use Aura 2 PG in place of SCT schema conversion tools, which is Amazon preferred way to do that. But since Aura 2 PG is a open source tool and it's having many benefits, like for Oracle to Postgres, we can use the Aura 2 PG tool just for the schema export tool, as well as we can put the data into the Postgres directly. So it's a nice try from my side, I believe, and it is helpful for you guys as well. So thank you for watching my video. Good day. Bye.